Hi, how are you today, Sunshine? So today we're going to talk about sexuality, and I'm having here with me some cheat sheet because I don't want to have some facts wrong on accident, of course. So yes, this thing happened to me which I will talk about in the future video, but because this topic is so complicated and so wide, I will firstly make this video to explain sexuality, sexual orientation, romantic orientation, and how it all works so you can be more educated and understand other sexuality videos better. Let's just read the first sentence. Human sexuality is the capacity to have erotic experiences and responses, which let me just tell you that we kind of have problems with, and we use interchangeably sexual orientation or sexuality and sexual attraction and romantic attraction. I wouldn't put that in the same box. It's definitely something that I differentiate myself personally a lot. And I don't know why we would be so personally interested in people's sexualities, because in the end, you should be only interested in that if you are interested in having sex with that person. Otherwise, why would you need to know if somebody is gay, if somebody's bi, if somebody's pan? In the end, what we want to know is if that person is gonna be with a man, or if that person is gonna be with a woman, is that person gonna be with anything or no one. That's what you want to know. And that's not sexual attraction. That's romantic attraction. Trying to say that the spectrum is quite immense, and it's not even like grayscale. It's literally like the spectrum of like all colors, and then you can scroll, and even if you just scroll a little bit like up, the color changes completely. So the first was human sexuality. Now romantic attraction is the expressive and pleasurable feeling from an emotional attraction towards another person associated with love. So romantic attraction is, who do you want to be with? Who do you love? Like as a partner, you know, not a mother or someone. Sexual attraction is attraction on the basis of sexual desire or the quality of arousing such interest. There's sex, male, female, intersex, which means a variation in sex characteristics including chromosomes, gonads, or genitals that do not allow an individual to be distinctly identified as male or female. People have unknown genders. Gender is a range of characteristics pertaining to and differentiating between masculinity and femininity. And then we have androgyny, is a combination of masculine and feminine characteristics. Gender role is a theoretical construct involving a set of social and behavioral norms that within a specific culture are widely considered to be socially appropriate for an individual of a specific sex. But I think those lines are blurring. Gender identity is a person's private sense and subjective experience of their own gender. So what do you think about yourself? That's your gender identity. Even if you're wrong, doesn't matter. In all societies, however, some individuals do not identify with some or all of the aspects of gender that are assigned to their biological sex. Heterosexuality is sexual behavior, romantic attraction, sexual attraction between persons of opposite sex or gender. Now here it says heterosexuality is also romantic attraction, which leads to a lot of confusion. Personally, I would not consider that the same thing because it gets confusing, especially with some sexualities, which is asexual, because those people aren't sexual. That doesn't mean they're not sexual with themselves or have sexual thoughts, but they are just not interested in having sex with other people. And it also doesn't mean that they don't want to be in a romantic relationship. So those people are normally defined based on romantic attraction versus sexual attraction. Homosexuality is the same, everything except same sex or gender. Bisexuality toward both males and females, and may also encompass romantic or sexual attraction to people of any gender identity or to a person irrespective of that person's biological sex or gender, which is sometimes termed pansexuality. Like, I seriously, by this definition, I'm so confused because when you say any gender identity, I just automatically think pansexual, but here it says that's bisexual. Okay, let's read pansexuality. Or omnisexuality is sexual attraction, sexual desire, romantic love, or emotional attraction toward people of any sex or gender identity. Self-identified pansexuals may consider pansexual sexual orientation and refer to themselves as gender blind, asserting that gender and sex are insignificant or irrelevant and in determining whether they will be sexually attracted to others. Asexuality or non-sexuality is the lack of sexual attraction to anyone or low or absent interest in sexual activity. It may be considered the lack of asexual orientation or one of the 4 variations thereof, alongside heterosexuality, homosexuality, and bisexuality. Asexuality is distinct from abstention from sexual activity and from celibacy, which are behavioral and generally motivated by factors such as an individual's personal or religious beliefs. Yeah, asexual is not someone who happens to not have sex or someone who is waiting till marriage, you know. So let me just explain asexuality on a spectrum. If you have asexuality on one side, then you have sexuality on the other side, and on the middle you have demisexuality. So that's the spectrum. So if you're somewhere in between, so you do feel sexual attraction in some cases, then you're demisexual. If you do normally, then you're just sexual, and if you don't ever, basically, you are asexual. Doesn't mean that you're exactly asexual, exactly demisexual, or exactly sexual. You can be on the spectrum from sexual to demisexual, and from demisexual to asexual. Just saying. And it doesn't mean that you're always at the same spot. And nothing is like written in stone. Sexual identity is how one thinks of oneself in terms of whom one is romantically or sexually attracted to. Polysexuality is the attraction to multiple genders and or sexes. Yeah, this one is also confusing me. I don't really understand everything, because for me personally, you can really only understand what's happening to you. Or if somebody can really depict clearly what is happening to them, then you can understand it. Otherwise, you can't. Polyamory, the practice, desire, or acceptance of intimate relationships that are not exclusive with respect to other sexual or intimate relationships. So basically, being with more people at the same time, and that's like not cheating, like they are all agreeing with that, all party. With knowledge and consent of everyone involved. It may or may not include polysexuality. I don't know, that definition is wrong. If this is what this means, then I would just explain it as, let's say 3 people decided to be in this relationship together. Maybe one is with 2 of them, or maybe they're all with each other. I don't know. Maybe they're just like in love with each other and they're just like dating, or maybe they're even having sex. So if they're having sex, there's polysexuality, and if not, then polyamory. I don't know, that's my understanding of it. Sexual orientation is an enduring pattern of romantic or sexual attraction to persons or of the opposite sex or gender, the same sex or gender, or to both sexes. Kinsey scale, which is interesting. I think you should look it up. Let's start at 0. Exclusively heterosexual. Individuals make no physical contact, which results in erotic arousal, and make no physic responses to individuals of their own sex. So, strictly heterosexual. And let's go to number 3. Equally heterosexual and homosexual. Individuals are about equally homosexual and heterosexual in their experiences and or physic reaction. And number 6 would be exclusively homosexual. Individuals who are exclusively homosexual both in regard to their overt experience and in regard to their physic reaction. Now let's just read, because we're not number 5, so you see how much it off-skews. Predominantly homosexual, only incidentally heterosexual. See? And number 4 would be predominantly homosexual but more than incidentally heterosexual. Individuals have more overt activity and or physic reactions in the homosexual, while still maintaining a fair amount of heterosexual activity and or responding rather definitive heterosexual contact. I guess I would place myself on number 1. Romantic attraction, also called affectional orientation, indicates the sex or gender with which a person is most likely to have a romantic relationship or fall in love. Oof, page number 3. I just have one more thing to say. I mean, go through romantic identities. Identity list which people may or may not engage in purely emotional romantic relationships. Aromantic, lack of romantic attraction towards anyone. Grey romantic, blanket term for those who fall anywhere on the spectrum between romantic and aromantic. Biromantic, attraction towards persons of two or more genders. Heteroromantic, gender other than their own. Homoromantic, gender of their own. Panromantic, of any gender, and romantic. Males, romantic. Females, I would just like to point out this is probably used for intersex people because heteroromantic refers to gender other than their own, so if they're intersex, you would know what that other gender is. I don't know. That's, again, how I would use it. Neuromantic, for those who lack gender. Polyromantic, romantic attraction to person of more than two genders, but not all genders. Interesting. Anti-romantic is aromantic that is not interested in romance at all. Demi-romantic, romantic attraction to persons only after an emotional, though not necessarily romantic, connection is formed. Recipromantic, romantic attraction only after other person is romantically attracted. Queromantic, I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, unable to distinguish the difference between romantic and platonic feelings, or cannot define romantic attraction, therefore do not know whether or not they have experienced it. Rakees romantic, little to no romantic attraction because of some mental or emotional exhaustion, likely due to bad experiences of romance in the past. Wow, this must have happened to everyone at some point. Cupio romantic, I don't know. Desire for a romantic relationship despite not experiencing romantic attraction. And acoiromantic, romantic attraction which fades or disappears once it is reciprocated. No! And item romantic, experiencing romantic and platonic feelings in the same way. That's it. I know this was much. Hope to see you in the next video. Always, go at your guns of love. Bye!